What's going on, guys? Bengal again here, coming back at you with another video, and today we're doing the 2021 NFL Draft in Madden. Now, I feel like I am well within my rights to do this video, as I am the creator of this draft class, and it took me like 20 or so hours to go through all my notes and get the heights and weights and ages and attributes and appearance for every single draftable player in this class up to this point. Things could change, so of course we'll see over the season whose stock rises, whose stock drops. That's why, you know, scouting and the draft is so fun in general, because so many different things could happen, but there are a ton of different prospects. Every single draftable position is full of all real players, so it should be a ton of fun. So what we're going to do is go through this class in, I think, the most fun way possible, and that is by throwing it right into the draft format and seeing which team could hypothetically take which player. So, you know what'll be fun is down in the comment section below, go ahead and drop your favorite team and who you want your favorite team to draft. And also hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. We got Madden stuff all year, so I think the best thing to do would just be to simulate to the draft and see which teams are going to take which players. I will be simulating my pick, and I am the Giants. I believe in this. So who knows what could happen. We need to find spots for Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. Does Trey Lance go in the first round? Kind of that fringe quarterback with a ton of potential, but we don't really know what he's going to be yet. Just we've only seen him for one season at North Dakota State. And will any running backs go in the first round? Who's the first corner off the board? It's going to be a lot of fun. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start the NFL draft. I would also love for you guys to go ahead and follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Bengal YouTube. I also stream almost every day on Twitch, twitch.tv/Bengal, as it's Washington football team. I'm getting football team merch. I'm telling you, I'm making football team merch. I'll also link to that in the description if you're interested. It won't be like Washington football team, but it's going to be football team, as they are done with Dwayne Haskins. Trevor Lawrence will be the new football team quarterback. Interesting. Cardinals. Now, they've taken quarterbacks in the first round in back-to-back years before. Are they satisfied with Kyler Murray? Or do they want to go with another quarterback? We'll see. The Cardinals go with Jamar Chase, a receiver to help out Kyler Murray. Pairing up with DeAndre Hopkins would be pretty lethal. Of course, they do have some other great options there. I'm not sure that the Cardinals would opt to go receiver at this point, but if Andy Isabella doesn't progress, and we'll see about Akeem Butler and Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald will be retired at this point, maybe Jamar Chase would be the likely selection here, as the Jags go offensive line and get a really, really good one. Penei Sewell out of Oregon, so young, so talented, and the Jags build up that offensive line. Cam Robinson is out, Penei Sewell is in. Now to the Motor City, the Detroit Lions, who went Jeff Okudah a year prior. What position did they go with this time? Micah Parsons. They still upgrade the defense. This time they get a versatile outside linebacker. Can come off the edge, can play off the ball. A very nice pick for them. The Raiders. Patrick Surtain. They get a stud cornerback, elite in man coverage to add to their secondary. Patrick Surtain, the second Patrick Surtain Jr., son of former NFL cornerback Patrick Surtain. Played with the Dolphins, and I actually don't really remember him with any other team, really. Where else did he play? He was on the Chiefs for a few years as well, but I feel like he was mainly great with the Dolphins. As another cornerback goes off the board, it is Shaun Wade to the Titans. Now, he's primarily been playing in the slot for Ohio State just because of the talent at that cornerback position, with Jeff Okudah and guys kind of playing in front of him. Damon Arnett was a boundary guy, but we'll see if he's going to go to the boundary now that both those guys are gone. As Dylan Moses goes to the Chargers in the first round of back-to-back years, they take linebackers on the inside. Dylan Moses has unbelievable athleticism, probably would have been a top 15 pick if he hadn't torn his ACL a year ago. But the Chargers go linebacker. And now the Bucs. Is Tom Brady going to be there at this point? Probably, yeah. But they go defensive line. Gregory Rousseau last until 8. The Bucs get a stud pass rusher, and the Jags are back on the board, and they take Marvin Wilson. I mean, they love to build up that defensive line. Sticking with the theme in the trenches here, one offensive lineman, now one defensive lineman in Marvin Wilson out of Florida State, keeping him in state, pretty local as well. Creed Humphrey to the Cowboys. They get their Travis Frederick replacement. And now the Giants, my favorite team, is on the clock. And let's see who they take. Alex Leatherwood. They're not done taking offensive linemen. They got one in the top 4 of this past year in Andrew Thomas. And now they go to Alabama, another, reputable SEC school, along with Georgia, where Andrew Thomas is from, and they take Alex Leatherwood. The Jets, as New York teams pick back-to-back. This time it's Wyatt Davis. They won a tackle around this spot a year ago in Mekhi Becton. This time it's an Ohio State left guard, Wyatt Davis. The Bengals now going from 1st to 13th. They take a defensive tackle, Jalen Twyman, out of Pitt. Patriots on the board go with Rashad Bateman, wide receiver out of Minnesota. The Broncos, Caleb Farley, they grab a corner. Someone that was a high school quarterback, recruited to Virginia Tech as a receiver, and then transferred to cornerback and hasn't missed a step. In fact, maybe even gotten better. He's been a beast for the VT over there in Virginia, I think is the state they play in. Virginia Tech and Virginia, that seems right. Falcons take Devontae Smith. They go with a receiver out of Alabama. They love their Alabama receivers. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, now Devontae Smith. And the Dolphins are on the clock. They go with Sam Cosmi. They get an offensive lineman to bolster that group. Really, really poor group of their offensive line. But Sam Cosmi is going to help out significantly. The Vikings had a few first-round picks last year. This time they take a player in the secondary, Javon Holland at safety. Who knows where Harrison Smith is going to be at this point. Anthony Harris kind of is the big question mark there, I would say, more so than Harrison Smith. But they take Javon Holland. They get a ball hawk over the top. The Buffalo Bills go with Pat Freiermuth out of Penn State. Is Dawson Knox not cutting it? I guess not. Pat Freiermuth to the Bills. Eagles now at 20. Go with Tyson Campbell. They get a corner. They could use it probably. I know they have Darius Slay now, but I still think they could probably take a cornerback at this spot. As the Browns are on the clock at 21, they go Aiden Hutchinson. They get a defensive end out of Michigan. The Colts take Josh Myers out of Ohio State. Panthers get Trey Smith, so we see back-to-back offensive linemen go. And now the Packers took a quarterback last year. Did they finally go with a receiver? They don't, but they do go with an offensive player. It's Kyle Pitts, a tight end out of Florida. Dolphins, second pick of the first round, go with Daniel Fa'alele out of Minnesota. 6'8", 400 pounds, 2 tackles, 1 left, 1 right. The Dolphins are going all in on the offensive lineman, specifically at the tackle position. Now the Saints at 26, picking near the back end, and they get their quarterback of the future, Justin Fields, at the end of the first round. Drew Brees is probably going to be retiring at this point. Jameis Winston, probably not the future, but they think that Justin Fields could be, as he goes to Louisiana. Of course, started at Georgia, transferred to Ohio State, and now is going to New Orleans. Prayers up for Louisiana, man. They just got throttled by a hurricane. I know I'm in Houston. Selfishly, I'm a little bit excited that it didn't hit me, but, your prayers up to those guys in Louisiana. As Jackson Carman goes here to the Steelers. Out of Clemson, they go with a tackle. The Bears now going with Jay Tufele out of USC. They get a defensive tackle. 49ers, Deontay Brown out of Alabama. Reminds me kind of that Joshua Garnett pick some years ago. Now the Ravens take Carlos Basham Jr. out of Wake Forest. They get an edge. The Chiefs at 31 go with Quincy Roche. Another edge rusher goes here, this time out of Miami. And now the Jets picking at number 32. Who is this pick? Who won the Super Bowl? Because it was not the Jets. This is their second pick of the first round. Who owned this pick? Who do we see? Who did the Seattle Seahawks? This is the Seahawks pick in the Jamal Adams trade. And they use it to take Paulson Adebo. They get a corner, particularly Adebo adept in zone coverage. As football team is back on the clock at number 1 here in the second round. They go with Jalen Waddle out of Alabama. Unbelievable player here. A ton of potential. I would hate to see this in real life. Jalen Waddle is probably my favorite player in college football. Absolutely love him. He's, he goes 0 to 100 as quickly as possible. He almost starts at 100. He doesn't go from 0 to 100. He's just at 100 already. He is so fun. Amazing returner and really, really underrated receiver as well. Christian Barmore here To the Cardinals, they get a D tackle. Brevin Jordan, the Rams grab another tight end. They love their tight ends. Not in this same draft, but just overall, the Rams have so many tight ends. So many. It's not even just Gerald Everett. You already have Tyler Higbee, who just signed an extension, now bringing Brevin Jordan into the mix. The Lions go with Darius Stills out of West Virginia. He's actually got a brother in this class as well, who we might see a little bit later. Another defensive tackle. So we'll see where he goes. Hamza Nasir-Al-Din out of Florida State goes to the Raiders as they continue to bolster that secondary. Another player kind of reminiscent of Jonathan Abram in some ways. Hamza Nasir-Al-Din is a little bit bigger than Jonathan Abram. He's about 6'4", I think, and really has some linebacker traits to him as well. But Abram does as well, just not quite as big. Tennessee Titans take Rondale Moore. If you missed my video breaking down the draft class, some names are considered profane, and M-O-O-R-E for Moore is somehow profane text. I don't know how, but we had to add a dash instead of the O. So Rondale Moore goes to the Titans. You know, I don't know if he's going to be a slot specialist, but he's a deep threat. I believe he can play on the outside. He's a great returner, amazing with the ball. That's someone you just need to get the ball to. Get him involved any way you can. Chargers go Dylan Raduns out of North Dakota State. Buccaneers, Amon-Ra St. Brown out of USC, brother of Equanimous St. Brown. And what is the other St. Brown brother? Amon-Ra is the youngest. Equanimous and shoot. Osiris St. Brown. It's Osiris St. Brown. I don't even know if he's in the league right now. I don't think so. Jaguars go with Chuba Hubbard, their Leonard Fournette replacement. Chuba Hubbard out of Oak State. Beast. He's so fun to watch, even though I don't really particularly like Oklahoma State because I am a Texas fan. Thank you, Caden Stearns. Caden Stearns stays in state, though. Unfortunate, as I hate the Cowboys. Caden Stearns going to the Dallas Cowboys. My favorite team, the Giants, back on the clock here. And they go with Tyler Shelvin, a defensive tackle out of LSU. Jets go with Jalen Mayfield, a tackle out of Michigan. Still bolstering that offensive line. Bengals, Travis Etienne, as if they needed more running backs, man. Are you kidding me? They have Joe Mixon. They have, like, fourth on the depth chart in Travion Williams. They have so many. Let me look up the Bengals depth chart. Yeah, Gio Bernard as well, of course, and Samaje Perine they brought in as well, so that's wild. Israel Mukuamu, a 6'4" cornerback, headed to New England. That feels like a typical Patriots pick, honestly. He is like Joejuan Williams in some ways with that height. Of course, the Vanderbilt second-round pick. Was Joejuan? No, yeah, Joejuan Williams was definitely a second-round pick. Broncos go Andre Sisco. They get a free safety in case Justin Simmons doesn't stick around. And even if he does, Andre Sisco, a little bit versatile, and so is Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons can move to strong safety. As the Falcons pick here in the middle of the second, grabbing Paris Ford, a safety out of Pitt, hard-hitting, physical, free safety. Plays a lot bigger than his size. I think he's like 6'1", 190, but plays huge. Dolphins go with Journey Brown out of Penn State. This is like your Saquon Barkley light type player. Tremendous athlete. Penn State says he runs a 4.29 40. I question that, but we'll see. He might be like, low 4.3s still, which would be wild. But Journey Brown goes to the Dolphins. Vikings here go with Walker Little as they upgrade the offensive line. The Buffalo Bills, Chaz Surratt, brother of Sage Surratt, a receiver out of Wake Forest that we might see at some point in this draft, and I'm sure we will. Eagles go with Cameron McGrone, a linebacker out of Michigan. The Browns take Eric Stokes, a corner out of Georgia, who's fallen a little bit in the draft here. Chris Olave, receiver out of Ohio State, goes to the Colts as they pair up one Ohio State receiver in Paris Campbell with another in Chris Olave. Panthers go with Cade Mays out of Tennessee, another offensive lineman, and another defensive lineman here, this time for the Packers, Ronnie Perkins out of Oklahoma. Dolphins go with Jason Owe out of Penn State, athletic edge rusher there. Richard LeCount out of Georgia heads to the Saints. So they kind of have taken two Georgia players in this draft so far. Yeah, Justin Fields transferred from Georgia after barely playing for them, but it counts a little bit. Steelers, Asante Samuel Jr. You guys are never going to believe this. He's actually the son of Asante Samuel. Fun fact for you if you couldn't pick up on that. Bears go with Marco Wilson, brother of Quincy Wilson, former Florida corner drafted by the Indianapolis Colts. 49ers, Master Teague out of Ohio State, really good player. He's going to be fun to watch, see what he can do this year in a starting role. Richie Grant out of UCF heads to the Baltimore Ravens. He's another fun safety to watch. There are a lot of fun players in this class. He certainly is one of them. Chiefs, Drake Jackson, offensive lineman out of Kentucky. Seahawks go Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern, right tackle there for them. Kerry Vincent is the first pick of round 3. He's headed to football team. They're sticking with that SEC trend. I guess Trevor Lawrence was their first pick, who was not SEC, he's ACC. Cardinals at number 2 here in the 3rd go with Trey Lance. Oh my goodness, more quarterback controversy in Arizona. Are they going to trade Kyler Murray now? That feels like an interesting landing spot there for Trey Lance. Rams go Jamie Newman. They go with a quarterback. Back-to-back QBs start the 3rd round. And back-to-back-to-back QBs. KJ Costello to Detroit, former Stanford Cardinal. Now to Mississippi State, play for the Bulldogs, and headed to the Detroit Lions. He's going all over. Jack Sanborn, get a linebacker here to the Raiders. Titans take Kwity Paye. Could be mispronouncing that, out of Michigan. Chargers, Tyreek Johnson, another guy that's going to be fun to watch, actually in a starting position now for Ohio State. He played everything in high school. He was a running back, punter, corner, return man, and then for Ohio State, he's been behind Damon Arnett. He's been behind Jeff Okudah, behind Sean Wade, as Hamilcar Rashed goes there out of Oregon State. Versatile player, probably best suited on the edge, but he goes to the Bucs there. He's taken 2 edge rushers so far. Jags take Nick Eubanks, tight end out of Michigan. Guess they're not satisfied with Tyler Eifert. Joe Tryon out of Washington heads to the Cowboys. It's a high potential pick there. We'll see how that plays out. Jabril Cox to the Giants. Of course, have to add a dash because Cox is profane text because, you know, it is what it is. Jets here go with Tadarius Slayton out of Florida. Trayvon Moehrig, safety out of TCU. There's another safety out of TCU in this class. Kind of reminds me of LaMarcus Joyner in a lot of ways. So we probably will see him go fairly soon. Jarrett Patterson of the Patriots, they grab a center. Broncos take Brock Purdy out of Iowa State. Maybe a quarterback controversy there with Drew Lock. Who knows? Falcons take Nick Bolton, a physical linebacker out of Mizzou. Dolphins go with Chris Rumph out of Duke. Also, Rumph is profane text. It's R-U-M-P-H, but I just added an F so you get the sound. But yeah, I guess a rump, because they're like, ooh, that handsome woman's got a nice rump. It's like, who talks like that? Why is that profane text? It's his name, Rumph. Frustrating. Vikings go with Najee Harris out of Alabama. Ooh, they get some major physicality to go alongside Dalvin Cook. Smash and dash there. Ardarius Washington is the other TCU safety I talked about very briefly when we talked about Trayvon Moehrig. He reminds me of LaMarcus Joyner. He's only like 5'9", but I think he's a really solid player. One of the few good defensive players in the Big 12. Philadelphia Eagles go Joseph Osai, and that's another one of them, man. I don't want to be biased here. I think Joseph Osai is a hell of a player. I don't really think he's an edge rusher. I think he's probably a versatile type player who can play sometimes coming off the edge and also off the ball. I think he's at his best when he's off the ball, when he can run and chase and play sideline to sideline. I think he's decent in coverage. I like Joseph Osai a ton. I've watched every game of his college career. He is a beast. Zamir White, running back out of Georgia. Browns like their running backs out of Georgia, man. Zamir White's going to pair up with Nick Chubb and also Kareem Hunt, who didn't go to Georgia. He went to Toledo. As the Colts go with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah out of Notre Dame. Another versatile type player in there. A little light, but is good off the ball. Kylan Hill to the Panthers. They go with the running back. Packers, LeBrian Ray, a defensive tackle out of Alabama. Dalen Hayes, another Notre Dame defender. This one a right end. Goes to the Texans. Cole Van Lannon, tackle out of Wisconsin, heads to Cleveland. Steelers go with Cordell Volson. Solid player there. Tackle out of North Dakota State, the second one that we've seen in this draft so far. As the Bears at the end of the 3rd round go with Puka Williams, running back out of Kansas. Football teams up again. They go Trey Hill. They get a center out of Georgia. Ravens, Tyler Linderbaum, another center, this one out of Iowa. Kansas City Chiefs go Patrick Jones. They get another defensive lineman, this time out of Pittsburgh. The Jets with Merlin Robertson, an outside linebacker at ASU, is headed to New York, as now we have the first pick of the 4th round. It's football team, and they go with Colby Harvell-Peel, a safety out of Oak State. Texans go with Reed Blankenship, a safety out of Middle Tennessee State. Jags, Tommy Kramer out of Notre Dame, offensive lineman there. Shaka Toney out of Penn State, headed to Detroit. Bengals go with Baron Browning. Really interesting player, too. I'd like to say it's going to be interesting to see what he does this year, but there's no Big Ten football, so I don't know. Titans, Jordan Davis, defensive tackle out of Georgia. Chargers go with Josh Sills, left guard out of West Virginia. Not to be confused with another defensive tackle out of West Virginia in one of the Stills brothers, who I will see at some point probably. Kyle Trask, a prototypical quarterback, heads to the Bucs. Bruce Arians probably going to love to work with him. Charles Snowden out of Virginia, headed to the Jags. Yeah, that feels like a Jags pick. Giants back on the clock after Abraham Lucas, a tackle, goes to the Cowboys. They take Kennedy Brooks, another running back, to pair with Saquon Barkley. Jets go TJ Carter, corner out of Memphis. The Bengals with Landon Young out of Kentucky. Patriots go Dante Stills. That's the other Stills brother I was talking about, with Darius out of West Virginia there. So that's fun. Little brother dynamic. We've got a couple brothers in this class. You got the Stills brothers out of West Virginia. You have Sage and Chaz Surratt. One's a linebacker. One's actually a receiver. Sage Surratt's a receiver out of Wake Forest. Chaz Surratt is the linebacker, as the Falcons go with, Falcons are up on the board right now. Amari Gaynor went to the Broncos, linebacker to Florida State. Another intriguing player. Kenneth Gainwell, running back, goes to the Falcons. Dolphins go with, we were just talking about him, Sage Surratt out of Wake Forest. Another really, really solid player. This would be phenomenal value for him here in the 4th round. Vikings back-to-back picks. Ben Brown's their first one, a guard out of Ole Miss. And Zion Johnson, a guard out of Boston College, is their next one. They've taken, 3 offensive linemen so far? Browns now with back-to-back picks. This is Victor Dumakije out of Duke. Their second pick is Pete Warner, outside linebacker out of Ohio State. It feels like a traditional Sam here, but we have him listed at left outside linebacker for class balancing. Colts with Tylan Wallace, another receiver for them. This one is a tremendous route runner and great value here in the 4th round, although he is coming off an ACL tear. Panthers with Chase Lucas. They grab a corner out of ASU. Packers go Jack Anderson, a guard out of Texas A&M. Texans take Patty Fisher. Should be a fairly well-known name for most of you guys there out of Northwestern. Saints go with Trey Sermon out of Ohio State. So they're trying to rebuild some of that team. They got Justin Fields. Now they're bringing in Trey Sermon. Steelers go with Robert Cooper out of Florida State. This is a nose tackle. I like him a lot. I think Marvin Wilson gets a lot of the attention because he's just such a dynamic player, like amazing pass rusher. But Robert Cooper is a nose tackle who's surprisingly athletic. And I think he's going to rise up boards a little bit as a nose tackle. I like Robert Cooper a lot. It's a less flashy position, but it's an important position. I feel like he does a great job eating up blocks, and he's phenomenal. Now, this is a name that's tough to say. I believe it is Pele Gautierte, the 4th at a USC. I might need some help with that, but I hope that's close enough. 49ers go with Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC. He's a guard. Ravens, Ambry Thomas, corner out of Michigan. And I think we're only going to do 1 or 2 more picks here, as Tuff Borland, linebacker of Ohio State, heads to the Chiefs. And maybe the last pick of the draft is going to be Tamorrion Terry, a big receiver out of Florida State, joins the Seahawks, joins DK Metcalf, and, of course, Tyler Lockett. That's a fun receiving core. But I think we're going to simulate to the end of the draft here. A lot of surprises in there. You got to make sure to download that draft class. It is called 2020 NFL Draft Bengal. You can find it on the roster share under the username Gene Dangus. Make sure to like it. Make sure to download it. Make sure to do all of that. And thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.